Okay guys, for this tutorial you're gonna need a crochet hook. I have a 5mm, a tapestry needle at the end for sewing in our ends, and we're gonna need some yarn. It's the Michaels brand value yarn, the loops and threads. It's just a regular acrylic yarn. Before we get started, just a disclaimer, I am left-handed, so if you are right-handed, you just have to do the opposite of what I'm doing basically. If you are a beginner, that might be a little hard to do, but if you have been crocheting for a while, you should be fine. To start off this tutorial, you need to start with a magic circle. If you already know how to make a magic circle, you can skip ahead. If not, I will be showing you right now. You're going to take your non-dominant hand. You're going to use your middle finger and your pointer finger, as well as your thumb. With your other hand, you're going to take the end of the yarn, place it between those fingers and your thumb. With this hand, you're going to wrap it around and under, making an X with the yarn. So when you see that X with the yarn, you can turn your fingers over to the other side. You should have two lines. You can hold your working yarn with your pinky. You're going to go under the top one, over the bottom one, and back under. You're going to pull through. And since you're holding your pinky with your working yarn, it's easy to see and grab. You're going to grab it from the middle right here and pull through. And now you have your magic circle. Take your magic circle off your fingers. You have your working yarn, you have your little tail end. I work over my tail. If you don't do that, you don't have to. So I'm going to flip it this way actually, so I can work over my tail. Okay, so now we're going to work 12 half double crochets into this magic circle. If you know how to do that, you can skip forward. If not, I will show you right now. To make a half double crochet, we're going to do yarn over. We're going to go into the circle, pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your crochet hook. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 of those loops. So it's very simple. So that was number 1. This will be number 2. Yarn over. We're going to go under through the loop, the magic circle. Pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. I'm going to show you one more time. You are going to yarn over. We're going to go through our magic circle. Pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. Gonna yarn over and pull through all 3. I will be back when I have completed all 12. Okay, so we have 12 half double crochets. You can count if you are unsure. You just count the loops at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have all of our loops. If you are a beginner, it does help if you count your stitches after you do a row if you are unsure. So to tighten our magic circle, we're just going to pull on our tail. So once you pull it all the way, it should look like this. So we're going to slip stitch to the other side. So in that first one, in that first stitch that you can see, you're going to insert your hook. Then you're going to pull through a loop of your working yarn. If I can get it through. You should have 2 loops. Instead of pulling up a loop, you're just gonna take this one and pull through the other one right there, and now we have a full circle. And just pull this to make sure it's tight. So now that this first round is done, we'll go on to the second. So our second round is basically going to be an increase round. So we're still working with half double crochets, but we're going to put 2 in every single stitch. So at the end of this round, we should have a total of 24 since this first round has 12. I like to chain up 2, and that counts as my first half double crochet for this first stitch where we're already in. We're going to go over into where we already are, yarn over, and pull through all 3 of those. So that's gonna count as my 2 half double crochets, that chain is going to count as one and the half double crochet is going to count as the other. So then we continue in all the rest of the stitches. Yarn over through our stitch, 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3, and we're going to do it one more time in that same stitch. Got 2 for the second stitch. Third stitch, we have 1, and 2. And so we're going to do this around the whole rest of the circle. So after you have completed your 2 half double crochet in each stitch, you are going to slip stitch to the top of this, chain 2 that we made at the beginning of the round, okay you guys, so in the next part we will be constructing the rows for the base of the sock. So we're still going to be working with half double crochets, but the amount of rows you will need to do will vary depending on your shoe size. I'm going to make a chart and put it on this side of the screen showing you guys like how many rows for your shoe size. These are standard US American shoe sizes. So for this particular pair, we're going to be doing we're gonna do US women's size 8, so that means we're gonna have to do 17 complete rows of half double crochets. So we're not increasing in any way in these. So I'm gonna chain 2, that's gonna count as my half double crochet for this stitch. Yarn over through our stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. If you would like to use stitch markers to keep up with your stitches, I would put one right there, but I don't usually use stitch markers. I kind of just wing it usually. I'm not gonna lie. So let me zoom in to give y'all a good view. We're gonna yarn over through our stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, yarn over into your stitch, pull up a loop. So we've done our first row of half double crochets. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. And we're going to continue that for 16 more rounds. To count my rows, I use this app called My Row Counter. And when you get onto the app, you just hit new project at the bottom. You can name your project. So we're gonna do ruffle socks, and we're gonna hit crochet. Done. Next, you can import your patterns, but we're just gonna hit skip. And now I can keep track of my rows. So we've done 1. So this is what it's looking like around row 5. At this point, you want to insert your foot. If you're making this for yourself, insert your foot to make sure that it is wide enough. This should fit for any standard width foot. Okay, you guys, after I've done my 17 rows, and this is how we're looking. So our base and our length are complete, well, almost complete. Now we're gonna work on the heel. And before we start working on the heel, actually, we are gonna weave in this end at the bottom and cut this yarn because we're gonna turn this inside out. Okay, so we're gonna tie this in a knot. And we're just gonna weave it in. However you weave in your ends, there's no really rhyme or reason for weaving in the ends. So after that's tied, we can cut off that little end. And we're gonna turn this, make sure you still have your loop that we're working on. Just pull some out so it doesn't get mixed up. And we're gonna put this inside out. And this is how the outside of our sock is gonna look. So the heel rows also depend on your shoe size. So these are gonna be over here on this side of the screen as well. Okay, we're doing a women's size 8, so we're gonna need 7 rows for our heel. So basically for the heel, we're only going to do 16 stitches. So you will need to count these. Let me zoom in just a little bit. So we're gonna start with our chain 2. And then 16 half double crochets. So it's kind of hard to see that first stitch, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when we get to 16 half double crochets all around, we should have this little opening in the front. What we're actually gonna do is turn our work. We're gonna chain 1, and then we're gonna go back down. Okay, so this is how we're looking on row 2. This is at the very end of row 2. Like I said, we chain 1, we turn our work, and then we continue to half double crochet into those 16 stitches. I have my 7 rows up of 16 half double crochet. So let me see if I can zoom out some more. So this is the whole sock so far. From this opening right here, we're gonna fold it backwards, and we're gonna line up these 2 edges right here. We're just gonna fold it all the way down to make it easier. So basically what you want to do is slip stitch this together all the way down. Gonna insert my hook through the other side. Take my yarn, pull it through both. Then we're gonna do it again. We're gonna stick our hook through this second stitch. Then the second stitch on the other side. Pull through, oh, almost lost it. And then pull through again. So then we're just gonna chain 1 to fasten off. Then we're just going to cut, pull that through, and tighten. So what I like to do is go ahead and weave in this end so we don't have to, you know, think about it later. After that is stitched at the top and you weave in your ends, you can go ahead and poke your heel out. And that is gonna be the opening for the sock. Look how cute. We are going to reattach our yarn. We're going to reattach our yarn at the back right here. You can attach your yarn however you attach it, either slip knot or I just pull mine through. However you do your yarn to attach it. I usually put my hook through, take some yarn, pull it through, make sure it stays tight. And then with my working yarn, I usually just chain 1. And that's how I usually attach my yarn, but however you attach your yarn. And then we're gonna chain 1, because we already chained 1, so a total of 2. And we're gonna work 2 rows of half double crochets around the entire opening right here. So yarn over. The stitch is kind of hard to see. Half double crochet, yarn over, half double crochet. And since like these are like the side of stitch, like of the side of these rows that we did when we made the heel, it is a little hard to find where they go, but just try to put it in all the visible stitches as best you can. I promise it'll look fine. Okay, so once we get all the way back to the beginning, we're gonna slip stitch into the top of the chain. Alright, and since we did that first row, it'll be easy to do the second row right on top. So we're gonna chain 2, and we're gonna go all the way around once more. So second row is done. We're gonna slip stitch to the top of this chain. So yeah, we have a little bit of length on top. We have our heel, and we're looking good. Last thing we have to do is ruffles. So for the ruffles, we are going to put 6 double crochets into each stitch. So we're not doing half double crochets anymore, we're doing double crochets. We're gonna start in the stitch that we are already in. We are going to chain 3. That chain 3 is gonna count as our first double crochet. Double crochet, we're going to yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop. Instead of going through all 3 like you do for the half double crochet, you yarn over, go through 2. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through those 2. So we're gonna yarn over into the loop, pull up a loop. You should have 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to complete this into every single stitch all the way around the sock. So once you finished your ruffles and made it back all the way to this chain, I don't do it in the last one. I will go right here and I'll just slip stitch that to that corner right there and fasten off, and we are done. Slip stitch, pull, we're gonna fasten off and cut our yarn, and there we go. Take your tapestry needle and weave in this string and this string from the heel. Me personally, I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna tie these together and then just snip it off. Alright, so that is the ruffle cuff. Let me flatten it out so it looks normal. And this is our finished product. If you want more ruffles, you can do another row, or if you want bigger ruffles, you can add more into each stitch. However you really want to make your ruffles is up to you. However you want to make your ruffles is up to you, but this is how I make my ruffles, and this is how they turn out at the end. I'm not going to put this on my foot because it's not for me, but I'll show you how a pair of mine look on my feet.